there was a time when we had lay magistrates, and then we were employed straight from the University Kenya School of Law. I've never been on the bar. I've never practiced law. I've always been on the other side. But that's a story for another day. So after 44 years, my last station was International Criminal Court at The Hague, where I was for 9 years. Kenya Judiciary, I was for 35 years. That's how I earned 44 years. Now, before I completed my term at the International Criminal Court, I started thinking, because it's 9 years, I started thinking that, okay, I still feel very energetic. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, how could I not introduce my husband? How could I not? Here I was working at The Hague for 9 years, and he was here. But the International Criminal Court told him, come anytime you want to come, just let us know. So he was a commuting husband. And over and above that, we got married early. I got married when I was first year law student. And last year, we marked 50 years of our wedding. And this year, September, we marked 51 years of our wedding. So there we are. So when I decided, I said, I still feel strong. I can do many other things after the 9 years, because the ICC is 1 term of 9 years. So the first contact I had with ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution, was in this hotel. For some reason, Paul, what was it called? East? That's where I met Paul. East Africa was in this hotel. And out of the blues, they have somebody who wore, I don't know where I got my email address from. Oh, Steve. Okay. So when I got this email, I said, okay, I'm just about to go back home for holiday. I might as well register. So I registered, and that was my first touch with alternative dispute resolution mechanism, this hotel. When I completed, when I attended, I met trained for my media. You are this, you can come. That time I'm still employed, so I went once or twice, and then it dawned on me that, my goodness, after all these years of being in court, you mean I'm still going to do examination in chief, cross-examination, re-examination? Really? So I started thinking. I said, is this what I want? Paul, I know you are disappointed that I didn't practice arbitration. Because he really persuaded me. And then, I think it was just a year or so before I came back. No, Jerry, you remember we had the conference in Mauritius. All this time I started going to conferences. I was still employed, but I was interested in this field. So during our time as judges, it's only my sister, Judge Mary Angawa, that, knew everything, I think, about arbitration. And she would talk to us about it, and I would tell her, Mary, I'm not sure. So when we were in Mauritius, one morning we were in the bus, and then there were several British lawyers, arbitrators, mediators, and they started talking about mediation. And then they started saying, I told them, okay, I've trained as an arbitrator, but if you are talking about mediation, where would I train? He said, the oldest institution in London is Center for Effective Dispute Resolution. And that's where I trained for my mediation. After I trained for my mediation, I could not practice because I was still working. So eventually my 9 years came to an end in 2018, and I came back home. That time all I had was accredited. I was an accredited mediator. That's what you get after 40 hours. Okay? If you get anything more than that, I'll talk to you. So my first port of call when I got back was FIDA, Federation of Women Lawyers. You all know FIDA. So I remember Irene Ochola, he's in charge of that program. Irene told me that, you know, Judge, you are so senior, but we have some rules here. I said, like what? When you come and you have not done mediation before, practice mediation before, we would want you to have 3 observations. I said, Irene, I don't have a problem with that. I'm the one who has offered to do mediation. I don't have a problem. As long as you don't give me somebody young. Not that I have anything against young people, but sometimes when it's a young person, when you're observing a young person, sometimes it can be a bit complicated. Irene told me we have so many people who are in that age bracket. I don't know whether I was already on the 7th floor. Now I am on the 7th floor. I don't know by the time I came back. So I made my 3 observations, and on the 4th day, he said, Judge, you are ready. I said, Irene, I'm not sure. He said, no, I've got 2 mediations for you. You are ready. So I handled those 2 mediations, and then I applied to be in the Court Annex mediation team. I'm always reasserting myself. I should not be doing it at this time, but I found that as long as I'm able to, I reassert. I move forward. So eventually I was enrolled in the Court Annex mediation. And then, you know, the family division in the High Court, I'm the one who started it. I'm the one who established it. So I'm glad that it is still up and running. So as if the registry, and I think I saw Kenda go here. Yes. As if they knew. I started heavily with succession matters, really. And I'll never forget one succession case that had been in court. I'm the one who issued the grant. And you know, when I issued the grant, 2003, it was still in court 9 years. And this was a family. Mother, about it from another mediator who people are being told. He said, we've never had it. When in court, we were told that we were going for mediation. We asked our lawyers, what does that mean? So please, mediation works. So anyway, I said, all I have really is accredited mediator. Is that enough? And I'm coming from international community. That's where I have been working. So I said, no, that's not enough for me. Then I think COVID came, or this happened before. I think something happened before COVID. Then I suddenly, you have to network. I was networking, and I found that there was going to be in Dar es Salaam a conference, Africa-Asia Mediation Association. I had never heard of anything like that. And I heard about it from another mediator in Mombasa. You have to continue to network. So before I realized, Kevin Brown, whom I talked about earlier, he wrote to me, he sent me an email and said, listen, there's this conference going to be in Dar es Salaam. Would you be interested? I said, yes, Hirath has told me about it. Hirath is in Mombasa. He said, listen, if you want to have international qualifications, our team are coming to Dar es Salaam. And we, but you have to find 2 other mediators so that you are 3. Because we are going to do role play virtually the whole day. And we are going to assess you, all 3 of you. So I said, okay. So I managed to find 2 other mediators. One of them has since passed on, Surinda Kapila, you remember? They didn't know about this conference. They didn't know, but I persuaded them. I said, listen, if we go to 1 day earlier to Dar es Salaam and we are assessed and we pass the assessment, we will have international qualifications. And that is how I became an certified international mediator. That's how I became, because we had to be assessed. And as if that was not enough, I'm always looking around. And please, you have to network, you have to look around. So during COVID, one day I was looking through the internet, and I saw, for some reason, I saw that UN was looking for mediators. I said, wow, what kind of mediators would they be looking for? I think I'm also qualified. So I answered the advert. They were looking for mediators. They took about 2 or 3 weeks. And eventually, they answered me back. They said, we have assessed your qualifications, this. You wanted to be, because UN was now having regional mediators, so that you don't come from this region and you go to another region, this region, mediators are from here. So they told me, listen, we have looked at, we have scrutinized your qualifications. You wanted to be a mediator, but we have decided that no, you'll be in the International Advisory Board. And I'm still in that board up to today. So, and I don't limit myself. Maybe, should I start limiting myself? I don't limit myself. I go on and on. And James Mangerere is here. James will tell you that quite often, in fact, even for his institute, I've had trainings online, because when COVID came, then we couldn't meet. So my online mediation, I learned it from James. And little did I know, because then a Kenyan man living in California, and the lady I think is somewhere in Thika, one lawyer I would not have been able to do that. And I remember this man all the time asking me during the proceedings, are you really in Kenya? Have we developed this much? I said, how long have you been in California? He told me, okay, I've not been home for the last 6 years. I told him, I suggest you better come home. This is the level where we are. So that's on and on and on, and I think I'll stop it there. So a few months ago, since last year, when IGAD asked me that, look, Judge, we want you to do some work for us. I said, it depends. What kind of work? He said, you were in judiciary for a long time, and now we want you to reform the judiciary of South Sudan. I said, listen, I've moved on. I'm in ADR. He said, no, Judge, you can't move on and completely leave us. So that's what I'm doing most of the time, and it interferes with my mediation a bit, but it's a lot of work. This is a country that's had war, as you know, wars. Judge James Ogola is from Uganda. He's also a retired judge. He's mostly an arbitrator. I am deeply a mediator. And this, we find that these skills help us, because it's very difficult to do the kind of work we are doing now. So,
7th floor, I want to look and sound like you. Oh, no, please. But I think the thing that really stuck out for me, Lady Justice, was the fact that you said you keep networking, you keep looking for the next thing. And even in your seasoned years, because you're not old, you're seasoned, you are still moving and shaking. And what an honor to have you here to share those gems. Thank you once again. One more round of applause for Lady Justice. So I will spare you